I'm still pretty furious with Fernando Alonso after Barcelona, but on the positive side, we have a new rear wing for Canada. Maybe. Hello everybody, welcome back to F1 Manager, welcome back to AHGP. I am now into my 10th episode as Mercedes boss. Round 9, I'm now kitted out with Mercedes gear, so I'm well ingrained into the team now. We've only had one podium so far in the opening 8 races. Fernando Alonso smashed up Lewis Hamilton's car in the previous race. He has got at least a 5-place grid penalty courtesy of the damage. But on the positive side, we have this email saying our 3rd version of a rear wing is ready to manufacture. However, well, actually, when I was looking through this earlier, it only gave me emergency. So we could emergency manufacture 2 rear wings and have them on the car for Canada. I think we're going to do just that. It's going to cost us $2.2 million dues to do this, but we have $82 million of our cost cap remaining. We have $37.5 million in the bank. We're going to go ahead and click on it, and there we go. We're going to have those ready to go on the car for Canada. So hopefully that will bring us some performance. And just looking at the calendar, we've got the Canadian Grand Prix, which will be this episode. And then before the next episode, the next aerodynamic testing restriction, ATR time, will start before the Austrian Grand Prix and the British Grand Prix. So we can start putting some more upgrades on the car. And talking of our car, we can just do a little quick analysis. So rank on grid, let's compare it to the Red Bull. So we're struggling in acceleration. The Red Bull is rapid out of the traps. Interestingly, the Red Bull that doesn't make any sense. Those numbers make absolutely no sense. But whatever. So maybe that's why Ferrari are so good in this championship, and yet Red Bull is still winning the races. Okay, practice done. Just a little bit of a headline from practice. Lewis had a bit of an accident. He damaged the front wing on his car, so we've only got one of those left, the second version of the front wing. So Lewis is actually on the first version of front wing heading into qualifying. But we are now going to give him his final allowed engine. I'm going to give him the new ERS, which will trigger the 5-place grid penalty. Gearbox will leave there. So we will just adjust George's engine components as well. We're going to have to take power unit penalties throughout the rest of the season, I think. Durability not our strong point at the moment. Although Hamilton goes P4, that is almost 3/4 of a second slower than Verstappen. What does Russell achieve? He actually goes within 7/10. We've got a yellow flag there. Another penalty for Alonso. What has happened? We've had multiple cars crash. What has Alonso been up to? Going to show us a replay? Replay? No, apparently Alonso's been up to mischief again. There's someone else trundling around slowly. Could be Leclerc. It looks like it might be Leclerc because he has got part of a front wing missing. And Leclerc needs to get back to the pits and repair that. But we are going to switch our tyres while he does so. Quickly do that and that. And Alonso will now have a 10-place grid penalty. What can George Russell do with his first sector? It's not an improvement for George Russell. What about Lewis? It is a PB. Can we get ourselves ahead of Stroll? We're not going to get anywhere near the Red Bulls and Ferraris. Russell improving in the middle sector. Hamilton, we're looking at your middle sector coming up any second now. Eventually. Anyway, George Russell's going to finish his lap and stays 6th. Hamilton apparently hasn't done a middle sector. He goes quicker but is only 8th. He's actually matched Gasly, who did his time first. So I'm going to put that down to the fact that he's got an old specification of front wing on the car. P6, P8. And that P8 will become P13 for Lewis after his grid drop. So we've kind of got them the wrong way round, haven't we? And with Lewis, we're actually going to take out 2 laps of fuel. Going to be really bold here, and I'm going to even take a lap out of George as well. On the provision that there is a safety car, that we can then recover the fuel, basically. But also for Lewis, he needs to be able to make progress early doors to recover some of this ground. We're starting 6th and 15th. Let's go to the race and see if we can salvage something from this Canadian Grand Prix weekend. Alright, Verstappen and a Ferrari on the front row. Looks like it's Carlos Sainz. The lights are out in Canada and we are racing. George Russell in 6th place. Is he going to... Well, he's actually 5th now. He's got ahead of Stroll by the look of it. That's good news. And Hamilton has also gained a place. He's battling with an Alfa Romeo. He's actually lost that position again. That is a Williams that's coming past. That's... Come on, Lewis. You've got to do better than this. Sargent has overtaken him. What's going on? Russell up in P5. We need progress from Lewis Hamilton, please. We need to turn the aggression high. Here's George Russell staring at the back of a Red Bull. The race is going to be very different for our 2 drivers. Russell has a bit of a gap actually already over Stroll, and if he can go with this lead group and they can pull him away, that would be fantastic. So just checking in with Hamilton, and the good news, if you call it good news, is Fernando Alonso is right behind him, and we all know how this ended last time. So it would be really good if we could get past the Williams here with some DRS. And here we go, down the outside, everyone going to the right, and Hamilton sweeps by. Through goes Hamilton into 15th place. We won't get too excited about that, but we now need to try and get rid of these Alfa Romeos and get away from Alonso, because that guy's a menace based on previous evidence. What's Russell doing up here? He's sat nicely in this train that Carlos Sainz is driving. And we will deploy and see if we can get past Zhou Guanyu. We're going to hop on board with Lewis for this one. Will we get the DRS overtake this time? Not quite. Maybe down the pit straight. Go on the outside into turn 1. There we go. Lovely stuff, Lewis. That is beautiful. And now, Valtteri, it's Aaron. Please get out of the way. Although I'm not sure that will work anymore. But it was worth a try. Bottas, we can overtake in a moment. We will push now with the fuel and the ERS. The battery's now empty. But we've got DRS, so hopefully we can go past the Finn. And goodbye, Valtteri. Thanks very much. 13th place. And Alonso's only 16th. So that's looking much better for Lewis. And this is looking really handy for George Russell. He's just sitting here. Let's look after the tyres, because if we can just stay with them in DRS, then that'll be hunky-dory. We've dropped Stroll by 4.5 seconds. And look at Russell. He's looking very menacing. I think we can actually have a look at overtaking a Ferrari. Let's see if we can pass Charles Leclerc and take 4th place. Is he going to go for it? No. Turn the aggression up, all the way up to high. Here we go. George Russell down the inside. Oh, that looked like it was going to be contact. Balance. Oh, he's going through. He's gone through. But now we have gearbox. Give with one hand, take back with the other. George Russell goes through. I wasn't actually paying attention to that, so he got a great run while I was faffing about with the settings. He's actually got a great run down the outside and muscled Leclerc out of the way. And now he'll be right. He's going to be right on the back of Perez. Is a podium possible in this race? He might be sitting in a really good position with a couple of pairs of soft tyres a couple of sets of soft tyres to go back on. Perez takes second momentarily. Verstappen still in the lead, doesn't care about any of this, but Russell has his eyes set on potentially second place here. Here comes Hamilton. Can he go past Hülkenberg outside of the chicane? Yes, he can. The TV direction wasn't brilliant there, but we are through into 12th place. Let's have a look back. It's going to give us exactly the same angle. Oh no, slightly, well, I say slightly better. Definitely more chaotic. But up to 12th, well out of Alonso's reach. He's stuck behind Bottas. Valtteri, it's Aaron. Block Alonso. And Hamilton is just... He's throwing caution to the wind now. He's up to P11. He's overtaken Alex Albon. This could be a long episode simply because there's a lot of editing to do for me already. Lovely move. Love that, Lewis. Through goes Hamilton. You know. Norris and Magnussen are the last drivers that Hamilton will be battling who are on softs. Well, there's Ocon as well. But once he passes this group that's in front of him, which does include Pierre Gasly, and then Stroll kind of on his own, yeah, Hamilton will have some free air. Russell has dropped back a bit now. But actually what we can do is harvest for a short moment with him, and then we can start pressing again on the tyres. Hamilton has now moved into the points. He's passed Lando Norris, and things are coming together in this race. Here we go. Outside of turn 1, pinches the apex for turn 2. Textbook move around the Montreal circuit. Now he's sizing up the Alpines, but it's Pierre Gasly at the front of this train who's making it easy for Lewis to just scythe through them, to be honest. Russell has dropped way off there. He's 2.5 seconds, maybe 3 seconds. As Hamilton goes past Ocon. Another move executed for Hamilton, who's at peak confidence. Oh, it is hammer time, and it is beautiful. Absolutely loving this from Lewis Hamilton. And he's going past Kevin Magnussen now in the Haas. You just cannot hold him back. Into the hairpin. Through goes Hamilton. One more time. Pierre Gasly, the next car on the road. We've got DRS for good measure. George Russell is now into his pit window. So I suppose we can attack with him. Deploy on the energy. And Hamilton is looking really, really strong right now. Hamilton, are we going to go for it? We're going to go on board. We're going to go down the inside. Into the final chicane. Avoid the big curves. Avoid the wall of champions. And you will have 7th place. Absolutely beautiful. And here goes Hamilton down the outside of Stroll. And he's got him. Easy as that. He just caught him. And he's gone past him. So now we need to pull away from the Aston Martin. So we might actually lose the position here. If we can actually get DRS down the back straight, that would be absolutely excellent. Let's push on the fuel if I can click in the right place. We did not get DRS. So that's going to make things a little bit more tricky here. But I think we're going to be okay. We're going to hang on to the position. And hopefully now we can escape the Aston Martin. Please. We don't like being near Aston Martins. They do tend to crash into us. Hamilton still battling Stroll, which isn't ideal. Let's deploy and push and go past with some DRS and everything else.
So we have low on battery at the moment.
Low on battery, but DRS. Come on, get through, get through. Lovely stuff. Through goes Hamilton. Pull away now. Alright, we're boxing Lewis because he's about to be right in the way of Russell, but he did give George Russell DRS on his way into the pits. Soft tyres now to the end for Lewis Hamilton. He will come out behind the Haas of Hülkenberg, which isn't optimal, that's for sure. But what he will get now is plenty of DRS, which will help move him through the order and help with this big undercut now on the likes of Leclerc and potentially Perez, although they were way up the road. But definitely on Stroll as well. Can we get the move done here on Hülkenberg? Just having a look at it, and you know the phrase. It's that Bart Simpson meme, isn't it? Through goes Hamilton. Alright, some pit stops are starting to happen. Leclerc is in the box and he has come out in 6th place. He's only a few seconds up the road from Hamilton now. What has Leclerc gone on to? He's gone on to softs, so is he going to make them last 31 laps? I suppose possibly they might. Perez has done the same. So, I mean, Russell could probably attack more on his tyres and really go for it, to be honest. Hamilton as well, we've asked him to conserve a bit of fuel. But he's still flying along. He's about to pass another Alpine. There we go. So he's overtaken Gasly and is now back into 7th place. Alonso, who's now on hard tyres, is 10th, making his way through the field. But he is some 15 seconds behind Hamilton. So our strategy is working, and it's actually got George Russell currently ahead of Sergio Perez. Which, I mean, could Russell steal a podium from this race? We can't get him to the end, so we might as well attack on the tyres, abuse these tyres. We're going to box him around lap 50 maybe, that we might as well. And give him as much opportunity to close that gap as we can. I mean, how much does he lose from a pit stop? He would... estimated time loss is 18.5 seconds. So he is... Let's got 1.3. Some quick maths here, as it's twice the speed. So it reckoned he'd come out in 9th. So if we can extend that gap and get him ahead of Gasly, then we could be sitting quite pretty. We could probably attack on the softs with Hamilton, actually, because he's got clear air. He's closing Leclerc. He's 3 seconds behind the Ferrari. We're looking in a really good position here. I don't know if this is the rear wing or the circuit just playing to our strengths. Right, approaching the point at which we need to pull the pin on our pit stops. Just looking at George Russell now. He will come out in 7th, which is... Oh, we've got a yellow flag. Albon's locked up at turn 1, so it's not going to be a safety car, which would be really super helpful. Russell's actually just losing position to Sainz, but he is on fresh soft tyres. Russell on older mediums. But we're about to turn the tables here, because we're going to have the fresher softs and hopefully a whole load of pace. The Ferraris have proven you can do 14s, or even they were at one point even in the 13s. Ocon in the 18.1s. L's for him. But we're approaching the point at which we need to try and flip this around, and potentially, a safety car would be really helpful. Although the AI might just decide to pit everybody anyway. But in comes Russell. Hamilton is following him in. Soft tyres for George Russell. Nice pit stop. 2.4 seconds. Wow, the boy's really got a nosebleed there. But I suppose if you're going to do one after the other, the second one should be pretty quick. So we're going to exit the pit lane just behind Fernando Alonso with Lewis Hamilton and a little bit of traffic. But now we're going to be running these tyres to the end, and we can run these things aggressive from here to the end. The only problem we have is fuel. But what I've noticed is if you put it in conserve, it does recover it fairly quickly. Hamilton and Alonso duking it out, and Hamilton, is he going through? Yes, he is. Oh, Alonso fighting back on those hard tyres, but Hamilton, with the extra grip, goes through. Let's have a better look at this. Oh, it's only going to show us the end of it, so that wasn't the interesting bit. Just go back and have another look at it if you want to. As Leclerc sets a fastest lap of 16, that can't be a fastest lap because everyone else has gone quicker ahead of him. Oh dear. We're still trying to recover some fuel, but we can deal with that in a minute once we have hopefully overtaken the Aston Martin. And here goes George Russell outside of turn 1, inside of turn 2. Thanks very much. See you later, Lance Stroll. Lance Stroll, you were supposed to be gone and dispatched of. Why are you here? Why are you in front of George Russell? More importantly, we're attacking on the tyres to try and catch Leclerc, but that's not happening, is it? And now we need to get back ahead of the Aston Martin, which we do not. Is catching this pair. Stroll is doing an annoyingly good job here. I would rather he didn't. Thank you very much, George Russell. Redress some order to this, please. What's everybody's tyres saying? So they're all in. Well, Stroll's doing fairly well on his tyres. Perez is struggling on tyres now. But they'll make it to the end. But we can just basically destroy our tyres. There's a little bit of traffic here. Let's fast forward things and see how that gap comes down. It's now just 5 seconds. We might be able to nab P4 with George Russell here. Hamilton inside 2 seconds on Stroll. This could be an excellent recovery drive from Lewis Hamilton up to P6, which would be lovely stuff. Oh, we do have the safety car. We do have a safety car. Hamilton, what tyres have you got? He'd come out in 8th. Is that enough time? No, let's not. Let's conserve everything. No, not battle assist. That's broken. It doesn't work. Perfect. We needed to save fuel. Who is out of the race?
Safety car.
Why is there a safety car? Is it the competition safety car?
They're happy to earn those brakes and tyres.
Crash involving multiple cars. Here we go. Who's at fault? Oh, that's an Alfa Romeo and it's sideways. And an Alfa Tauri so close to losing it. Wow. I mean, honestly, I think that's a red flag. Why is it showing us McLaren? It was clearly an Alfa Romeo. Unless there was contact between the two, but I don't. Now we can see another replay maybe. Now we're just seeing a replay of Max Verstappen almost hitting the Alfa Romeo. God, could you imagine if he'd creamed into the side of the Alfa Romeo? So that's Zhou who's retired. Okay, so this is a wonderful opportunity to snatch a podium. Another car retired. That's the remnants of what is. It keeps showing us crash involving multiple. Leclerc's out of the race. What's he done? Zhou's got a 10 second. I think Leclerc has driven into the stationary Alfa Romeo, and that's what we've seen basically exploding. And so now we do have P4. Oh, I should have kept clicking on it. I thought it was going to keep showing us cars going past, like it did with Verstappen. What is going on? So we have a safety car. Will we restart before the end of the race?
I got damage.
That's the big question. 3 laps left. They'll need to unlap lapped cars. I think we're going to get a 1-lap shootout. Are they going to do... or are we finishing behind the safety car? We're going to finish behind the safety car. It's the last lap. We're not going to get a shot at a podium.
One more lap.
I don't believe it. We're not going to get a shot at the podium. But we are going to get 4th and 6th. But Aston Martin are going to get 5th and 7th. So frustratingly, oh, this is so annoying. If that happened 5 laps earlier, we would have been in a safety car ending because it's the last lap. If it happened 5 laps earlier, we would have been absolutely in the money to get a podium. We've got the green flags, but no one can overtake because you can't overtake until the start line. And we're all going to cross the line together. Hooray! It finishes behind a safety car. Oh, the irony. But great result from George Russell. That's his best result of the season. And a superb drive from Lewis Hamilton to recover to 6th place. And yeah, I would say that is a much happier weekend for Mercedes. So if you enjoyed that episode, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more F1 Manager content. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you for the next race in Austria.